Hey guys, I'm Harsha, CEO of Slashy, and yeah, just wanted to shoot this video welcoming you guys to the platform and hopefully show you guys just why me and hundreds of other people think that Slashy is just the best way to get email done. So yeah, let's get into it. Hey, so I know for a lot of you superhuman and shortwave users, you guys are probably wondering if you guys will still get to keep your keyboard shortcuts, or if you guys will have to relearn a whole new set of shortcuts. The good news for you guys is we actually keep the same shortcuts that superhuman and shortwave have. You can kind of go J to go down, K to go up, enter for an email, you can hit E to archive, and yeah, you get all the same keyboard shortcuts that you had in those platforms. And if you ever forget something, you can always hit Shift question mark and you can see the shortcuts. And yeah, don't worry as well if you don't know the shortcuts, you'll be perfectly okay. Slashy works perfectly as well with a mouse as it does with your keyboard. Yeah, so another cool thing about Slashy is that we don't just have labels that require deterministic filters. You can actually make your own custom labels that use semantic prompts. So all you need to do is if you go to settings and you click on labels, you can either edit the prompts of existing labels, like I can kind of go here into important and change a label, or I can go and create my own label. So here, if I go and let's say create my own label that I want to just have, say, security, right? So I want it to be anytime a customer mentions security, I can just go and create this label. And Slashy is going to go check my previous emails, let me know which ones it thinks match this label, and I can go and correct it as well so that when it makes the actual label, it has the best understanding of what I want in my labels. So yeah, now I can just pick which ones match and which ones don't. So actually here, it seems like Slashy did a pretty good job, except for this cursor about one. So I'll uncheck it. And then I can just hit create label. And I can even backfill it up to 90 days if I want to. But for now, I'm just gonna hit create label. So now that Slashy's created that label, I can go and see here there's a security one. But let's just say, for example, maybe there's an email that we want to relabel. So let's say that the Stripe one actually should be in security. I can just click relabel here and I can just say actually security as it mentions DPA, and I can submit it. And so if you see there too, Slashy actually told me why it labeled it as customers and not as security, and I was able to give it feedback. That's one of the many ways that Slashy actually learns from you. And I think that's again what just makes Slashy so powerful, is that it's not just a piece of software that stays static, but it's a software that grows with you as you use it more. Another really cool feature of Slashy is that it actually helps you get to task zero by automatically tracking what emails need replies and what need follow-ups for you. So as you can see here, like this arrow is for needs reply, and this is for follow-ups. And you can actually filter just to see which emails you actually need to do. You can even sort them by urgency, and you can filter also by due date as well to make sure that you actually, know which emails you need to respond to and make sure you do them in the right order. And if you ever see get something wrong, you can always hit something like T to change it from need to reply to no action or the other way around. Or you can hit P to change the priority of an email. And this is actually how Slashy can learn from you and get better at diagnosing these time over time, is by you teaching it. But yeah, I think this is one of the really cool and underrated features that Slashy does that no other email client has. One of the most loved features about Slashy is how it can write drafts in your tone. And there's a few reasons why this works so well. Reason number one is that Slashy actually drafts you multiple options. So a lot of places you get a draft that might say yes or no, but you don't have the other option. With Slashy, we actually draft yes, no, or maybe. On top of that, what makes Slashy write higher quality drafts is it actually scrapes the web and LinkedIn for information about the person you're emailing. Because after all, you'll write a different email if you're emailing, say, the CEO of Figma or just a sales manager there, right? And another thing as well is it creates memories about your dependencies, your tones, and your styles, along with memories about the specific person to, again, just help it craft emails that really sound like emails you sent to that specific person. And also, of course, Slashy is not perfect, so sometimes you might change something, maybe changing a period to a smiley face. And when you make those edits, Slashy actually remembers those and updates your preferences. So in the future, it makes an email that sounds more like the edited version, not the initial version it created, which leads to Slashy drafts only getting better over time. And yeah, if you ever are also like maybe thinking Slashy is not learning as fast as you want, you can always go to the sidebar and say something like, "Hey Slashy, remember that I like to use smiley faces a lot." And then once you send that in, Slashy will just update its memory with that so that in the future you'll get a lot more smiley faces. Now, one of the really exciting things about Slashy is not just how it makes you get work done faster when you're thinking about your email and calendar, but how it gets work done faster for you when you're not even thinking about it. So I kind of want to go over automations. And yeah, we have a lot of cool automations in our automation library. There's stuff like meeting prep before calls, where you can get texted or emailed a briefing on who you're meeting with. And post meeting, you can have follow ups drafted with context from your meeting notes, your CRM, etc. Or you can even have something where you can have like a Slashy EA, where you actually just hand the whole thread over to an alias you make for Slashy, and it just handles scheduling end to end. Think of something like a Howie or a Blockit, but just in Slashy in your normal email client. And yeah, there's plenty of other cool automations as well. Stuff like color coding your calendar, maybe getting an email where if someone doesn't show up for a call, Slashy can detect that because it has a Google Meet connection and send them an email being like, "Yo, I was in the call. Does now not work anymore? What's a better time?" And another cool thing too is Slashy can actually even text you when someone like opens an email and even maybe even follow up with them because we already have open tracking in the platform. It can detect that and then either send you a text or a Slack message. And yeah, there's plenty of other ones as well. And you actually might feel like a little overwhelmed being like, "Oh wait, I can even like create HubSpot deals, I can log stuff to my CRM. How am I gonna know exactly what automations I can and can't do?" But honestly, you don't even need to come to this page to do that. All I would do is just go into sidebar and be like, "Hey Slashy, can you make me an automation that texts me whenever someone opens an email who's in my CRM?" And yeah, if you just put it in, Slashy's gonna go and just make the automation for you automatically, and you don't even have to worry about all these settings and configurations. And I think that's the best way to make automations with agents because who's gonna know what does it better, you or Slashy? Slashy actually knows what tools it has, how it works internally, etc. So I would always just recommend, if you're unsure, to just ask Slashy to make an automation. As you can see here, actually, Slashy already sees I have an existing automation, and so it updates it instead of making a new one, which I would have made a new one because I'm not as smart as Slashy is. Now, Slashy also has a Slack bot, and the Slack bot can do a lot of cool things. For example, you can draft emails within the Slack bot, you can handle scheduling, and it also ping you about important stuff. For example, here, like you can see ping me about a churn watch, some paid conversions, when I got an important email, etc. And I can do other things as well, like be like, "Can you find me the receipts from my trip to LA?" Or I can also tell it to schedule events, make automations, etc. Pretty much anything I can do in the sidebar, you can also do via Slack, along with being alerted anytime anything important happens, which is really useful when you're on the go and just don't want to check your inbox for everything. So now you can do your email from Slack instead of having to open up your inbox. Now, another cool part of Slashy is that you can handle your email via iMessage. You don't even need to open your inbox. And so, yeah, Slashy can ping you anytime you get an important email, even when someone opens an email, for example. And you can even text you drafts, so you can handle drafting as well on the go. And you can send stuff as well. You can send like voice notes, like, "Hey Slashy, can you tell me what times I'm free tomorrow?" And you can just send that. You can do stuff like scheduling, you can draft emails, you can do search, etc. And yeah, you can pretty much just handle all your inbox via Blue Bubbles. Another really powerful thing Slashy is a cursor like sidebar. You can use the sidebar to do a lot of stuff. You can do things like drafting, searching for emails, creating calendar events, even updating your memories, creating automations. Pretty much the rule of thumb is if you want to do anything with email and you're not sure if the AI can do it, just ask the sidebar and Slashy will either do it for you or tell you how you can do it yourself. And yeah, so like as an example here, I can just be like, hey, what other communication have we had with Stripe? And you can see here now Slashy is searching for Stripe emails. And after searching, it actually found some emails to give me some more context. And you can kind of even see, like, right, Slashy can go through a lot more emails a lot faster than I can. And that's what's really cool about the agent, is that you can kind of just go send it off to do tasks. While you focus on the actual thinking, it's kind of like a little assistant just in your inbox. And there's other stuff I can do, like, hey, can you set aside 15 minutes on Friday for me to review this further? And I can go and just book times on my calendar. And yeah, and then obviously you can also ask it to create drafts and memories, etc. But yeah, definitely recommend you to take full advantage of the sidebar. Now, sometimes you might not want to use the sidebar to do a change. You might want something a little bit quicker and faster. And for that, you can kind of just hit Command J and just be like, be more serious. And Slashy will just quickly go ahead and make the change for you. And if you don't like keyboard shortcuts, you can always just use the pencil icon here, or when you select, there's also a pencil icon. Another little bit less known feature in Slashy is Command P. So if you hit Command P, Slashy will actually proofread your email for you. Think of it like an agentic Grammarly. And it will like look at your inferred goal and just give you feedback and rate it 5 out of 5. So yeah, like I hear this email is pretty good and looks good enough to send. Another cool thing we do with Slashy is we actually can tell you when someone opens your email. So for any email that you send via Slashy, you can actually track it to see what time they opened it, what device they opened it on, and yeah, and you can even click the clock in the top right corner to see in order which email's been opened. And yeah, Slashy actually also filters out fake opens. So obviously, like Gmail and some other platforms sometimes will open an email for privacy reasons, and that's why sometimes Superhuman or Apollo, etc., might give you an open, but the person never actually even read the email. Slashy doesn't do that. On top of it, Slashy is able to actually track on an individual basis which person opens the email. So if you send an email to 5 different people, Slashy will actually be able to tell you which ones of those actually read the email and which ones ignored them. And yeah, just make sure to send the emails via Slashy. We can only track the email if you send it via Slashy. So Slashy actually has a contact sidebar as well on the side, which kind of tells you the name of the person, what the company does, and also some memories about them, which can be helpful to remember, along with any past emails or past meetings you have. And if they don't use Slashy, there's also a nice little refer button that you can hit to show them the magic. Another cool thing that Slashy has is a sidebar calendar. It's pretty useful when you're drafting emails and you want to kind of coordinate meeting times. For example, I can just be like, hey, are you good for a quick sync on Wednesday? And in the right hand side, Slashy will actually just jump to Wednesday and show me what time, so I can pick a time like looks like 12 p.m. is free for me, and I can just go ahead and hit send without having to keep switching between my inbox and calendar. Now, Slashy is not just an email client, it also has a calendar. So yeah, you can kind of see in Slashy, you can have a week view, or if you prefer, you can have a 3 days view, or you can even just see the specific day. And we have a lot of cool keyboard shortcuts, like you can do minus and equal to go back and forth. You can use C to create a calendar event. And you can also just see times of people as well. If you want to see like teammates' times, like for example here, you can kind of just see when Devyansh is free and when he's busy. And that kind of helps with scheduling. On top of that, you can also use the sidebar just like with emails, to go and create events, search for emails, etc. And then there's also this notes feature where if I actually click on a specific event, I can create my own private notes that only I can see. Because I'm sure everyone's done this before where you've prepped for a call or done something and then accidentally put it on the description where everyone can see. Here with Slashy, you can actually write your own private notes that only you can see. And you can even have the agent itself prep you for calls, etc., and just put info in this private note section so that no one except you can see what's important. One thing Slashy has as well is a unified inbox. So you can actually see all your inboxes in one place. And that's not just for the UI. The agent as well can search across your inboxes, automations can run across them. Your calendar has all of them as well. And I think that's what makes Slashy so awesome, is that it really is a one-stop shop for all your email and calendar needs. Now, another cool thing in Slashy is you can actually have tabs. So if I just hit Command T here, I can have a tab for my calendar, a tab for my inbox, and I can even have a tab for a different label. And yeah, it kind of helps you from not having like 1 billion tabs in your browser just disorganized. You can kind of just quickly go through each tab in your email, and this makes life a little bit simpler. One of the many ways that Slashy does that. Another cool feature of Slashy is that sometimes you don't want AI to write your email, so you already have templated responses. To use those, you can just hit / and you can just put in your templated responses. You can even make templates that have someone's name, company, etc. If you want to see all of these, you can go to Settings and go to Snippets. And you can even make your own ones right here by clicking on New Snippet. And again, you can just put in variables like your name, company name, etc. Or if you're lazy, you don't even need to go to Settings. You can just tell the agent itself to make a snippet for you. So I can even be like, hey, can you make a snippet welcoming new users? And Slashy will go ahead and just make a snippet for me. And yeah, Slashy will go ahead and just make a snippet. And yeah, it's a lot simpler than me having to go and manually make it myself. Another cool thing about Slashy is if you ever need to suggest times for people. So like, for example, here, if I want to suggest times for a quick sync, you can just do Command-Shift-A or click the calendar icon here to pick times. So for example, here, if I want to pick some times, let me actually switch to week view. And then I'm going to pick some times on Tuesday and Wednesday to send to them for a quick sync. So I can just pick these times. I can pick which calendar I want it onto, change the time zone, maybe even make a location. You can just hit Insert. And yeah, it'll just create a little thing where once I send it, they can click a time and just book a meeting with me. Really simple and no complex back and forth scheduling. The next thing I want to talk about is just the integrations that Slashy has. So we have a lot of great integrations. One of them being integrations with meeting note providers like Granola, Fireflies, Fathom, Otter, and Circleback. And the cool thing about these is once you connect these meeting notes, Slashy can use that context to feed things such as making drafts, prepping you for calls, and just reminding you when you drop the ball on something. And so I would recommend, if you do have a meeting note taker, to just connect it to Slashy. Another integration Slashy has is the Notion integration. So compared to the meeting note integration, Slashy does a little bit less proactive work with Notion, but still when connecting to Notion integration, you can do a lot of cool things like telling Slashy to update a task in Notion from an email, or maybe when you're responding to an email, having Slashy look through maybe a customer database or meeting note repo to get context from Notion to help answer something. And then we also have CRM integration. So we can connect to your HubSpot, your Adio, or your Salesforce. If you have a different CRM, just reach out. We probably have a custom integration for it as well. And the cool thing about these CRM integrations is you can actually even just choose which fields you want. So if you have custom fields in whatever CRM you use, you can just pick those ones to display. Same with companies and deals. And you can also auto log those emails. And so that means that like if I'm in here and I'm looking at a thread, I can always add the person to HubSpot. And the agent as well can always update HubSpot if I wanted to. And the labels will have context, the draft will have context. And yeah, everything just works together really seamlessly once you connect that CRM in. because, your email is just another extension of your CRM in some regards, and Slashy really just makes that process really seamless. Some cool use cases we've seen have included making labels like prospects, closed, churned, or like using the agent to automatically update your CRM records anytime you get a new inbound lead. And those are just scratching the surface of what's possible with the CRM integrations in Slashy. Now, the next thing is kind of a hidden feature Slashy, but if you go to settings, you can actually see what senders you can unsubscribe from and kind of easily clean up your inbox. All you gotta do is hit the checkbox and you can hit unsubscribe. And if you're unsure about whether or not someone deserves an unsubscribe, you can just hit the arrow and see what emails they sent you and just make an informed decision. And if you ever change your mind, you can just go to blocked and unblock them. But it's kind of a really easy way to unsubscribe. And yeah, while you're in your inbox as well, if you want to quickly unsubscribe from something, all you got to do is hit Command U and you just block the sender just like that. Yeah, another thing too with Slashy is if you ever want to change where your files automatically get downloaded to, you can just click on Downloads and hit Change to change which folder. And also, by default, Slashy will make Google Meet as your default conferencing provider. If you want to change it to a custom link or Zoom, you can just go to Settings, into Calendars, and you can just customize and pick Zoom. Sometimes people who come from Gmail get a little bit hard seeing unread emails in Slashy. So what you can do is if you go to Account and turn on Contrast Mode, you can see a little bit more of a clear distinction of unread versus read emails in Slashy. And then for those who are coming from Superhuman, you can turn on Condensed Mode to see the threads in a little bit of a more nice way, similar to how Superhuman does it versus Gmail. So like you can see here, you get the blue lines and a little bit of this more rounded feel that Superhuman does compared to the traditional Gmail feel, which I can just show you again real quickly right here in terms of stuff. So yeah, if you come from Superhuman, would definitely recommend using Condensed Mode. So as mentioned before, Slashy is a self-learning platform. And one of the ways Slashy does this is by creating memories about you and your preferences. So you can go to settings if you ever want to see what memories Slashy creates about you. But as you can see here, Slashy's created some drafty memories for me and also included memories that are specific to different types of peoples or different types of companies. For example, with like investor emails for people from like Sequoia, A16Z, etc. I want to put metrics and customer proof. And when talking about like security and procurement, with especially this because this is tied to threads with Figma, Stripe, and Linear, I want to mention like SOC 2, retention, subprocesses, etc. So actually also can save memories per person or per contact to, again, it just help it make the right decision when it comes to labeling and drafting. Now, I know for some of you, you might be concerned about Slashy sending emails, creating calendar events, and doing stuff without your approval. If you're a really concerned person, you can always turn on read mode. Now, I wouldn't recommend this because it's very much limiting your Slashy experience if you turn on read mode. But for the really concerned out there, you can always turn on read mode for maximum safety. Another nice thing about Slashy is that it actually tracks follow-ups for you. So as you can see with this Nora email, is that it will remind me to follow up if they don't reply. I think that's what's great because, right, a good assistant would do that, and it's nice that Slashy does that for you as well. And there's no configuration you need to do on your side. Slashy automatically will just look at your previous follow-ups, the context of the thread, and pick the right time to remind you. And just like other stuff, if you find that it's doing it wrong, just put in the sidebar your feedback, and Slashy will learn for the next time. Now, sometimes when writing an email, you might actually want to get context from other threads, or maybe you'd want to like search something, and that's what we have Command-Shift-P for. So you can pop out of the email and keep your draft and go somewhere else. And if you ever want to go back in, you can just do Command-Shift-P again to go back in.